10 of those 11 years, I've been offering embodied Jewish devotion, and my work outside of the temple has everything to do with mind-body connection and mind-body medicine. So for, I would say 28 to 30 years, I think 28 last time I counted, I've been in this field, and I love it, and I'm a lifelong student, so as I'm learning, I'm sharing what I'm learning with my clients and my students, and my hope is that today there'll be just a few things, maybe even one takeaway to help you manage your stress and to help you navigate these trying times and to come back to a sense of some inner peace, even if just a moment at a time. So there's a lot that I'm offering, but it's really, it's just on a handout because that's how my brain works. I'm very linear in terms of structure, so there's a handout for everyone. There's some little pencils as well. You don't have to worry about that right now, but just know that if you want to check off a couple things that meant something to you and you want to remember, you can use a little pencil over here. There is a recording of this, so don't worry about remembering things. That you can always go back and watch the video, which I recommend because it's helpful to review. But I think that's it for just the basic intro. So I want to start with a poem. And it kind of ties to, literally ties to a Jewish teaching that I've been exploring always, but really deeply exploring for about a month. So the poem is by Rumi, and it's translated by Coleman Barks. This being human is a guest house. Every morning a new arrival. A joy, a depression, a meanness, some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. So why do I read that poem? Because I've been diving deeply into this Jewish value of hachnasat orchim, of welcoming the guest. And I have a feeling that we're all pretty good at welcoming the guest, of being warm and hospitable, of being welcoming and kind to visitors and guests. And that might come more naturally to do that for others, but maybe not as naturally to do it for ourselves, especially when we're having a hard time and we start to judge ourselves for how we're coping. So I have a little note here about that. In Genesis 18, 2 through 8, verses 2 through 8, we find the story of Abraham and Sarah meeting three guests, thought to be angels, at the entrance of their tent, and with urgency and great care, receiving them with warmth and hospitality. Hospitality, or welcoming the guest, is an important Jewish value. The Talmud even says that welcoming guests is greater than welcoming the divine presence, or the Shekhinah. Beyond the hands-on practice of hospitality, we can intentionally set a tone within ourselves for each other that is one of hachnasat orchim. Welcoming guests reflects a deep and active sense of welcoming, permission for any aspect of the inner life that may show up at the opening of your tent of awareness as you turn attentively to meet the interior depths of your spiritual life. You can think of this quality as one of deep hospitality, being warmly welcoming, curious, and spacious towards the guests that may arrive before you or within you. And this comes from my mentor, Rabbi Miriam Klotz, who runs the spiritual director program that I'm a part of at Institute for Jewish Spirituality. So she's just a a wonderful mentor to me. And I've been really playing with this idea of taking that hachnasa or him, this welcoming the guests, and turning it inward, and how important that is for us to do this. So I'm offering these techniques to help us navigate stressful events and stressful times. But the overarching message that I want to offer is to embrace yourself during these times. So, you know, like it's okay to say, I'm feeling really angry, or I'm feeling even hateful right now. And instead of beating ourselves up, to say, okay, that's how I'm feeling right now. I'm gonna just be with it. I'm gonna be open to that. I'm gonna be curious about it. I'm having a hard time. I just lost my temper with my loved one. I'm so stressed out. Okay, well, instead of I'm such a loser, or when am I gonna get this right, or I thought I figured this out, it's okay, I'm suffering right now. I'm feeling tapped out. I'm feeling like I've reached my limit. And so just having that overarching, through these techniques, just have the overarching goal of self-love and self-compassion and self-acceptance. So I would like for everyone to take a moment to find your seat, find a comfortable way of sitting. And if you're comfortable, just closing your eyes, or if you don't want to close your eyes, you can look down toward the floor. And just take a few breaths. Notice how your body's feeling. Offering an energy of welcoming of whatever is going on for you right now in your body, just noticing it with compassion. And perhaps bringing a hand to your heart and noticing what's true for you in this moment. What emotion is prevalent? What feelings do you have right now? Bring the other hand to your belly area and take another breath. This is our Ayeka practice, the asking of where are you? Where are you spiritually? Where are you emotionally? Take a moment to notice, bring to mind what your top stressor is right now in your life. Maybe there's more than one. And when you bring that to mind, do you notice that you feel it anywhere in your body? And then bring to mind the ways that maybe your favorite ways to cope with stress right now. Whether you feel that they're healthy coping mechanisms or not, just make a note of how you right now tend to cope with stress. Take another deep breath. And as you let that go, remember that you're doing the best you can with what you have in this moment. Always. And when you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes if they were closed. Just notice how you feel after taking a moment of quiet and reflection. Okay. So I'm going to move through some techniques. I'm going to demonstrate them, and I welcome you to join me with any of them or all of them. We'll see how far we get, but they're divided into different reactions that we tend to have. So I've got some in the top here for when we're feeling triggered or anxious. So, you know, that can be something small, or it can be something really big. Maybe you were watching the news and you got like really triggered, and you're feeling that in your body, or you're feeling even not in your body. You're kind of feeling like, whoa, this is too much, too overwhelming. So these are for those kinds of moments. So the first one, and I will say, any of these that don't feel right to you, like if we do a breathing technique that feels too intense or it makes you feel lightheaded, just back off of that, or you can skip it entirely. That's why there's multiple choices here of things you can do. So the first one we'll try is called figure 8 eyes. Raise your hand if you've ever done figure 8 eyes or are familiar with that term. Okay, oh, yay, all right. So figure 8 eyes, there's a couple ways you can do it. So you can, I like to hold my thumb out and just follow my thumb with just my eyes. So you make a little infinity symbol or sideways 8. And the goal is to really move your eyes in this huge range of motion going from right to left and up and down. And you can do it at whatever pace works for you. So a lot of these techniques help to strengthen your vagus nerve, which is responsible for many things, but one of them is our stress response. So you can do something like that for a minute or so, and then see how your eyes feel after. The other way that you can do that, if you don't feel like moving your arms, is you can tilt, let's say everybody tilt your left ear to your left shoulder, and then with your eyes look up to the right. So you're looking in the opposite direction that your head is tilted. Feels a little bit like an eye exercise. And you just take a few breaths like that. And then go ahead and tilt your right ear to your right shoulder, and then take your gaze up to the left corner, as high as you can. And you take a few breaths. And this can really reset your nervous system.
I feel it in my ears.
You feel it in your ears. Fascinating. What do you feel?
It feels like a little roar in my ears.
A roar? Wow, I haven't heard that before. That's awesome, I think. Or maybe not. Yeah. Yeah, notice what you feel. Yeah.
Great neck stretch.
And it's a great neck stretch, actually, right? Because our vagus nerve it's called the vagus nerve, like for vagabond, so it runs through our body from our cranium through our body. It's really powerful nerve. So that's the figure 8 eyes. So if that doesn't, maybe that feels good to you, maybe you want a different technique. So this is one of my favorites. I used to struggle with anxiety and panic attacks, and it would happen especially when I get on a plane. But I would have just spontaneous panic attacks with no known trigger. So over the years, I've studied and learned many techniques, and one of them is to tap. Is this the second one? Tapping point. Okay. So on your hand, the back of your hand, if you count your knuckles, so the index finger knuckle is knuckle 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. So in between the 3rd and 4th knuckle, on the back of your hand, there's a little like soft spot right between your knuckles. And you just tap there. So this is related to Meridian's Chinese medicine, acupuncture. So this helps to calm down your flight or fight response. And you can just breathe and tap. And
Does it matter which hand?
No, thank you for asking. So you can do both. My favorite is on one side, but you can do both. And it's very subtle. So I'm on a plane, I'm just tapping. I look like, I've got nervous energy, but I'm really just breathing and calming that response down, that reaction down. So you can, I do combinations of stuff. So humming is so helpful. So you can even hum when you're doing this. And just humming slows down your heart rate, it slows down your nervous system, So I like to multitask, you know, because life is busy, so just do it all at the same time. Okay, so tapping on the back of your hand, and I wrote where so that hopefully you can remember, look back on that. The next one is really soothing. I call it the head cradle. So you take your right hand, this is from polarity therapy. So you take this right hand on your forehead, and your back hand goes at the base of your neck, on your skull, but down low. And then you just feel the weight of your hands on your head, and you just take some deep breaths. Let's take 2 more breaths. And then release. You can take that hold, you can hold as long as you want, as long as it's not bothering your arms and shoulders to do that. But what that helps us do is bring the circulation to the prefrontal cortex, the part of our brain that does executive functioning and makes good choices, not the part that's usually online when we're super stressed or in a survival mode, which happens often. So this can really help to bring that circulation and focus to the front of the brain.
Can you switch hands?
I don't switch hands just because of it being polarity therapy, and the way I was trained was the right hand goes on the forehead. But you know, I'm always saying, like, see what's true for you, and if it feels good to switch hands, see what works for you, see what you notice. The next one is called ratio breathing. I wonder if anyone's familiar with ratio breathing, like breathing in for a certain count and breathing out for a certain count. And so what, does somebody tell me what you've done and what you do it for? Like what ratio breath you do? Or you, yeah.
I do the 4 and 8, but on the breath out, I do affirmations at the same time.
See, there's so much wisdom in this room. These are the wise ones. Okay, so for anyone who didn't hear, she does a breathing in for 4, and then exhaling for a count of 8, which is really helpful for your nervous system. Twice as long. So sometimes if you want to breathe into 3 and exhale for 6, it doesn't really matter. Just keep your count consistent. 1 second. So 1 second. So what she does is she exhales, and do you say the affirmation or you just think the affirmation? Think the affirmation. So it's like breathing in. Let's all breathe in for about 4. And as we breathe out, let's think I am safe and loved in this moment. And you just blow out of your mouth like you're blowing out of a straw. So it slows the breath down. Let's try that again. Yeah, breathing in for about 4. Nice long exhale. I am safe and loved in this moment. Which may not take a count of 8, so you could come up with a really nice long affirmation that feels good to you. Yeah.
I also hold my breath, so I breathe in for 4 and then hold.
You can do that too.
Slow it down.
Yeah, there are so many breathing techniques, so that's another way to do it. If you're, I do it when I need a little extra energy, actually, like oxygenate the brain. But for this technique, the reason for the long exhale is to slow down or bring down the blood pressure, slow down your nervous system, bring it back to a state of rest and digest. You had a question, Erica.
I do it to go to sleep.
Go to sleep. Yes, this is good.
And also if I wake up and start perseverating.
Yeah, so
I do it to, and I listen to the counting in my brain, and that way I don't hear me.
wonderful. So listening to that counting, just having something to focus on can help us from ruminating or getting caught up in unhelpful thought processes, right? Okay, thank you for sharing that. This one's really fun, and you might not all agree, but I love this one. I call it chipmunk breath. So we use our face, we change our face because it helps to stimulate the vagus nerve, and then we're lengthening the exhale again, but we have to puff our cheeks out. So let me show you what it looks like first. and my lips tickle a little bit, but so your lips your cheeks stay puffed out. You make the inside of your mouth like you're saying oh, like everybody go oh. Notice what your tongue does when you make the oh sound. Oh. No, just keep that in your mind, and now take a deep breath in. Keep your lips sealed, puff your cheeks out, just stretch them out, and now open your lips a tiny bit with that kind of oh feeling.
Not relaxing.
I just made that up. It doesn't even exist. I just wanted to see you all do that. No, it's a real thing. It comes from somatic experiencing therapy. So let's try it again. Take a deep breath in. And I can't look at you. Okay, you get the drift, right? I can't do that even one more time because you're just too cute from this view up here. So that can help too, but sometimes if it doesn't feel like a match, you just go to something more simple like exhaling and humming. You want it to be easy. Yeah, you don't want it to be too complicated. We don't want to stress ourselves out with de-stressing techniques. Okay, so those are how to like kind of in the moment change your physiology, shift your nervous system. So the other ones I wanted to add in because sometimes we're feeling dissociated. I know for myself, if I have multiple stressful events happening and then I turn on the news, like personal stress, and then I turn on the news, there's something happens where I just feel like I leave my body and I'm frozen. I'm like looking over at this person and I don't want to like leave the house. I don't want to talk to anyone. I don't want to respond to calls. I don't want to call for help. It's like very painful feeling. This is the freeze mode, right? Like we all have a tendency to either fight, flight, or freeze. Like we all have a mode that we kind of default to. Mine tends to be a freeze mode. Like I don't know what to do, like dead possum. So these are really good techniques for when, I call them thawing, like to thaw yourself out. So simple things, like we've got the self-soothing shoulder squeezes. So everybody just take your hands and just softly, just really lovingly, just give yourself a little squeeze. You can do a little massage, like a gentle massage with one arm and the other. Just gentle squeezes.
Like giving yourself a hug?
Yes, yeah, it feels like a little bit of a hug or an embrace, but you're doing a little squeeze because, does anyone own a weighted blanket?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, or sometimes with people on the spectrum or people who have a lot of extra stimulation, they need this compression sensation. It's very calming for the nervous system. So you're giving yourself this compression. And then you're reminding yourself, okay, I'm in this body. I'm in this precious body right now that's having a hard time. And then what I like to do is just slide my hands. So you're feeling your hands sliding. Then when your hands meet, you just do like an air washing. Just air wash your hands. And take a moment to just notice what that feels like. Look down at your hands and just do a little imaginary wash. And you can say something like, I'm here I am, Hineni, Hineni. So you can do that as many times as feels good for you in those moments that you're feeling like you just don't know quite what to do for yourself, but you've got to start somewhere. So you meet yourself where you are. So if you're feeling like you can't make a big movement, like I can't call my friend, I can't go for a walk right now, I feel really kind of stuck, then you start small. You start right where you are, and this little movement is so small. But you start there, and then you kind of thaw outward, if that makes sense. Okay, so with that, we have that self-hug. So you can just do a hug, and then a little side to side. or tapping is, I won't say it. So just tapping side to side, just to feel you're giving yourself a pat on the back, really. And just feel that alternating tap. Or whatever feels good, right? So these are just ideas. But if it feels better to just give yourself a rub or a squeeze. So a self-hug. These are simple, right? This is a really simple technique, but it's profound. The impact is profound. Feel your feet and your seat. Super simple, right? So if you're not feeling in your body and you're feeling disoriented or dissociated, you can just say to yourself, which rhymes, so that's convenient, feel your feet and your seat. So everybody just feel your feet, wiggle your toes, tap your feet on the floor. And then wiggle a little bit from side to side. Feel your feet and your seat. The cool thing is, once you get really good at it, you can do all of it at the same time. And then no one's gonna look at you like you got a little something going on, like, okay, what's that person doing over there? So just, give yourself some love. So feel your feet and your seat. So that's for just thawing tools when you're feeling frozen. Low or blue mood. So it's spring, which is helpful. Anybody who wants to share, does anybody feel like they get a little like blue when it's winter time and the sky's dark for a while, or winter gives them the blues? I do.
When the sun comes out, I'm happy.
Yeah, when the sun comes out, it's helpful for sure. But even now, because of so much going on in the world for me and what I have going on personally, even though the sun is out and it's shining, I'm still kind of feeling a little bit low, a little bit blue. So we change our physiology to help break that cycle. So the breath of joy, raise your hand if you've done the breath of joy with me. Erica has. And some of you might have done it and then forgotten it. This is, I'm gonna invite you to join me with this. You can just watch if you want, or you can join. But what it looks like is this. So if you have shoulder pain or issues with range of motion, just keep it really small. It's totally fine. But the full movement, if you were to, do the whole thing, is breathing in and breathing in and keep breathing in. So you're basically sniffing the air. And then through your legs. I do it standing. You can totally do it seated, but if you want to try it standing, you can do that. So let's all try it in whatever way works for you. So we're going to bring in lots of oxygen. So it's breathing in, and out. And let's do that a few times. Up, out, up, down. Up, out, up, down. Breathe in, breathe in, breathe in, breathe out. 2 more times. And there you go. There's your breath of joy. If you get a little lightheaded, you're just super oxygenated. So feel free to take smaller breaths of air. But notice how you feel from the breath of joy. What do you notice? Energy? Refreshed?
Yeah.
Rejuvenated? That took like 30 seconds for us to do that. That's pretty special. So breath of joy, or if breath of joy feels like too much for your body, you can simply open up your arms and take a breath in and just think about your heart expanding, and then exhale to a hug. Let's do that 3 times. Opening the heart, welcoming joy, exhaling. One more. Good. So because I'm leading it, you're following my breathing pattern, I know. But when you're doing it on your own, if your capacity for breath is a little shorter, or if it's longer and slower, then follow the lead of what your lungs want to do. So if it's slower for you, then go slower, right? So just really listening to your body and your rhythm. Getting outdoors. Who gets outdoors when they're wanting to reduce their stress? Raise your hand high if you get outdoors. Yay! Awesome. Raise your hand if you feel like you know you should get outdoors, but you're in freeze mode maybe. Lazy, freeze mode. Yeah, nature is very healing. Nature neutralizes. It neutralizes. So getting outside. I have a lot of health coaching techniques, but I'm keeping this to like physical things we can do in the moment. But that would be my advice, is just getting outside, expanding your view, looking up at the sky, looking out at the trees, right? For anger, I don't think anyone's been angry in here lately. No anger in this room. We're all love and light. All right, for anger, I wanted to include this. I'm going to start with, we have the number 4, go for a walk, of course, just to move your body and to discharge energy, to really just like walk it off, just get out there and walk off that excess energy of anger, because it needs to go somewhere in a healthy way. Yelling into a pillow, I mean, how many people have done that have ever done that? Or yelling on a mountaintop. I love it. We have a pillow yeller in the room. It's simple, but it's really helpful. But the other two I really enjoy are pressing into something like a tree trunk or a wall. If you're really mad, you just want to do something mean. You just take all that energy and you push. Hopefully this is a good wall, because I'm strong. Okay, so you just push. You just like get in there and you just, you could yell or just push with all your strength. And it is really helpful to discharge the anger that you might be experiencing. It works great with a tree, though. A tree trunk will really welcome that. It's just...
And you can do a really good leg stretch at the same
Yeah,
time.
I'm loving this leg stretch is obviously so good here. You can stretch your legs, use your legs for strength. But that really helps. That's also a somatic experiencing therapeutic technique. It's just to push really hard into something without hurting yourself, of course. Like, listen to your body. Any questions about that one? Okay. So the next one we're going to do is another breathing technique. And I know some of you ate food. And this one is powerful and requires you to be loud. And if you don't want to participate, you just want to watch, totally fine. But I'm going to demonstrate it and invite whoever wants to join me to go ahead and join me. And this is a standing one. So it looks like this. You're going to imagine you're holding an axe. Your legs are wide. And you're going to lift up your axe and then take a breath. And then you're going to chop through whatever it is that you're angry about or frustrated about and yell, ha, really loud from your diaphragm. So I'm going to show you the way when you're yelling, your angry voice is coming from your throat. It sounds like this. Ha! It's pretty loud. But that wasn't me using my diaphragm. So you want to yell from here, from deep in that powerful place. So you breathe in. Ha! It's just coming from deep inside is very helpful. So if you want to join me, you can. You don't have to be loud if you don't want to be. It just, everybody think, and you could just do the movement, do whatever works for you. But just think of something that you just wish you could just eliminate, cut through. It could be a personal issue. It could be something more global. Hold on to your axe and just see it in front of you, just something that you just need to, you want to just disperse or release. And then breathe in and then chop through it. That was powerful. Let's do that a few times. Let's do one more. Good. And just notice how you feel. What do you feel? Power. It sounds very powerful from up here. Yeah, it really does. So, yeah, you can do this outside. You can do this. You can do this seated. So, just really accessing your power to respond in a way that's healthy to your anger. So these other practices are daily, really simple daily practices you can do to strengthen your vagus nerve and to just tonify it. So gargling is a great technique. So you could add this to your, toothbrushing routine, right? Just water is fine. And you just get some water and you gargle for like 30 seconds. It's really good for your vagus nerve. It's like secretly sneaking up on it. So you could do that in the morning or at night or both. So gargling is good. The 3 thumps, which I think many of you have done with me before. The 3 thumps is also Chinese medicine and helps to balance your energy. And it's these 3 areas. One is under your collarbones, and you just tap here, or thump. So this is at an acupressure point. That's really good for energizing, clearing your energy. And so you tap there, and then you tap the center of your chest, which is where your thymus lives. So this is good for your immune system, to regulate your immune system. And I add, this isn't the original technique, but I love to add making sound. So we can take a breath in and let out an ah. Good. And just to do a little extra, I'm going to invite you to add a smile to that. So we're going to take a breath in. It's my favorite part. I love to see all your smiles. And then tapping on your ribs. So it could be this very side of the ribs and a little to the front. So this is your spleen meridian. And these 3 thumping areas are really helpful. Really easy. So that's the 3 thumps. And grounding is kind of like the feel your feet, feel your seat, but barefoot if you can, outside. If you're sitting in a chair, just get your feet on the ground or the lawn or something, or in a park. If you can get your skin on the ground, on the earth, it helps to, the earth has an electromagnetic frequency that actually feeds your body and helps you to discharge the EMFs that come from all of our screens. So we kind of take all that in, and then we get inflamed, and inflammation is in our body, so this helps to reduce inflammation in the body. I can't speak highly enough about grounding. Super simple, 15 minutes a day. Science studies show like inflammation decreases significantly, depression decreases, insomnia decreases, so just get back to the earth. Just put your feet on the ground or your seat on the ground, So that's grounding. And then...
Are you breathing while you're grounding?
Yes, you're breathing while you're grounding.
Are you
Let's hope.
deliberately doing it in out?
But see, this is great, Sandy, because this is where you can kind of make it your own. You can be grounding, and rather than being on your phone, right? You can hum, you can tap, you could just give yourself some love, right? 5-10 minutes is really great. You can just make this all your own little recipe. Humming I mentioned, which we'll actually do at the very end together. And then the obvious one that I think we just all need to keep remembering is to take a break from the news or social media, even if it's just 15 minutes a day, or maybe it's not starting your day with it or not ending your day with it, but just notice when you're most affected by it, and maybe decide, like, is it really necessary right now for me to be on social media or to check the news? What would be the most supportive thing for my mental health right now? Is this going to help my mental health or take away from it? And then find that balance of being informed but not overwhelmed, if that's possible. Because our nervous systems were not designed to take in the information coming at us from everywhere in the entire world on the planet. We're not designed to process all that. So we have to use our free choice and our self-discipline and moderate it in a way that's supportive. Okay, any questions about any of these before we end with humming or chanting together? Yes?
Could you help me with a couple of terms that I'm unfamiliar with?
Yeah.
I don't understand triggers.
Yeah, thank you. So somebody cuts you off on the freeway, and they cut you off, and then they make a gesture at you, and you're just like taken aback by that moment, and you feel like you're kind of like your heart race and you get mad. That would be a trigger. Hearing
That's the same for pissed off?
Yes. Yes, and you can say it, and I won't because I'm being recorded, but you can say it, yeah, for sure. Hearing a story, hearing something tragic that happened to someone, that secondary trauma, hearing about that, that can be triggering. Any other descriptions for trigger that anyone might want to add to that to help us all kind of understand that?
Sometimes it's something that's really personal that you've experienced before, and so then hearing that it's happening to someone else is hard to hear it.
Yes, yeah. Yes, and yeah.
Also, I don't understand dissociated.
Oh, thank you. So dissociating is when, it's a kind of a complicated term, but from a perception standpoint, it's when you kind of feel like you're not in your body, or you don't feel like you're kind of frozen and you don't feel real, which you may not resonate with that. What else can we say about dissociating? Does anybody have an experience of feeling that way that they can describe from an experiential standpoint?
You get something done, you do something, but you don't remember actually doing it.
That's a great example. Did you hear that? You do something and you kind of don't remember doing it because you're just not mindful of it at all.
The feeling of being outside and looking in.
That's beautiful too. You're outside looking in. That's a great example. So, anything else? Any other descriptions of being dissociated? Yeah.
Emotional disconnect.
Beautiful. An emotional disconnect. That's actually really helpful because it's like you don't think you're depressed, but you're also not really mad, and you don't really know what you're feeling. You're just kind of out of touch with what you're feeling at all. That's a way of being dissociated. You're just not embodied or aware of what's going on with you. Does that make sense? Is that helpful? These are really helpful things you all. Yeah.
Just not being present.
Not being present, right? And maybe that means like, because you're so overwhelmed by what's going on, it's painful to be present. Sometimes it's painful to be present with what's going on, which kind of circles me back to the Hachnasat Orhim, which is that whatever's going on, the best thing we can do is offer a welcoming embrace to whatever's going on for us. Even if we're dissociated, even if we don't know what we're feeling, even then, give that a hug. Just embrace that's where you're at right now. Does that make sense?
Before we end with humming,
Yeah.
because I would rather end on humming than end on my
Totally.
talking.
Yeah, great.
I think that 2024, with what's going on in the world and elections coming in November, we should all laminate this and hold on to it. And I just feel like this is a big year and there's a lot of stress for me. I know I find myself doing all these, so thank you, Kendra. And maybe we'll have Kendra come back closer to election time, I don't know, but thank you. This is really, I learned a lot, and I feel much calmer now than I did at the beginning. And then now we can end on humming.
Great.
Yay,
Great.
thank you.
Thanks you all for your attention and participation.
Are you gonna do another with Rabbi Miller,
Oh, we're gonna do a day-long retreat in May.
do you know the
On
date?
May 10th, I think. It's a Friday. I think it's the 10th. We're gonna do a day-long retreat. And we always, in my classes, we're always weaving in little bits and pieces, but I don't have time to really explain, like, why are we doing this? I try, but there's not a lot of time. So if you have any questions after, I think my card is flying around here somewhere. You are welcome to email me or call me or text me. I'm here to answer any questions you have or offer support. And luckily, we'll have this recording so you can practice again if you want to. But I thought it would be really grounding because I just energy and information came at you. So I want us to all just kind of integrate that moment and that information by doing one of the practices listed here, which is humming or singing along to a meaningful chant, just to feel ourselves just really embodied back in the moment. So if you want to close your eyes, you're welcome to do so. And I think we'll end with Hine Mato. Hine Mato Rumanai Shabbat we all be blessed by this time together in sharing our wisdom and resources. May we move forward through our day filled with love, filled with intention to live our best lives and to share our light with the world as we walk through our days together. May it be so. Amen.
Amen.
Kendra, you are amazing.
Oh, thank
We
you.
are so blessed to have you. I think on behalf of everybody, I hope we feel relaxed and calm, and it's a wonderful start for the forum, for spring, and we'll have you back.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Kendra. We'll see you all next month. Just want to take one picture, if someone can just sit down a little bit.